He's out! 10 wickets to lay on.
And it's Lonsborough. 3-2. Lonsborough so but she touches first.
Finish with one in a bit. Let's have a bit tighter at the start. Stand by to move. The flag's up. The flag's up. Move to your roving position now. Hold it steady as you can. You can pull it wider now.
Pull down slightly, George.
A bit wider. Steady. Steady.
So they're off. And they're off.
Now here we are outside MCR 21, originally supplied to the BBC in 1963, in need of lots of tender loving care. Now, as you see, it's not the right colour. The plan is to take it back to its original green and grey colouring and make it really smart and as original as possible. 388 EXH, radiator filler cap, headlights, wipers. Even the wipers need sorting out. We'll walk round to the cab. And here's the cab. I'll climb in. We've got the driver's seat up at the moment to show the engine. A inclined 6-cylinder petrol engine made by Roots. It's a very old-fashioned engine, almost agricultural, as is the vehicle really. The vehicle is a comma, straight 6 petrol engine, 4-speed gearbox, no power steering, but it has got vacuum assisted power brakes. There are lots of lockers on OB vehicles. Variously there's different things in them. The one here has the batteries in it. That's not the engine battery, that's the batteries that run the lighting, the sound desk, if there were a power failure, so that the programme can continue in sound only. Moving further round, we have the power input panel, the air conditioning panel, and the entrance to the production area, again with folding steps. They fold up quite nicely. This is the original production desk from the BBC's MCR 21, dating from 1963. This position is the producer's secretary with the controls for talkback. The vision mixer, which was often the producer, sat here at the 10-channel vision mixer, and he could fade or cut between the channels. There was also a rudimentary selection of wipes. Next to the producer sat the sound mixer, and the sound mixer has a 20 channel desk with 10 in the first group, 4 in the next group and 6 in the last group, with a master fader for them all. A fairly complex for the time desk, but interestingly there's no equalisation. It's a flat desk. The frequency response is flat, microphone to output. Next to the sound engineer sat the senior engineer at this position, and it was his job to oversee the entire technical operations, and he had a telephone and a old-fashioned manual telephone exchange whereby he could route his call to a particular destination, and he would press the ring button and it would ring at the far end and hopefully somebody would answer. There was also a talkback system for the shared between the producer and the producer's secretary, and this mic was shared between the sound man and the senior engineer. And there's a little switch here so you can direct where it's going to go to. It's commentator 1 or commentator 2. Or in the middle normal. Now I'm sat at the vision control engineer's position. Now when I got this vehicle all those years ago, this whole section in front of me was missing, so I felt quite free to install other equipment as and when it became available. But the principles remain the same. There's the control for the exposure of the camera. Twisting it gives you lift control, and this group here adjusts the colours. And there are 4 sets of these. 1, 2, 3, 4 for up to 4 cameras. And there's a precision monitor to review the results of your work. Coming through now from the production area into the engineering area through this little tunnel, and it can be quite friendly in an OB van. There's not a lot of space. Interestingly, this panel on the wall here is an original 1963 instruction for electric shock. So you have apparent death from electric shock, which hopefully you can recover from. Well, I've squeezed through the tunnel, and here we are at the back of the monitor stack. The back of the monitor stack is not very exciting other than for maintenance and access purposes. We have a telephone, so we can have a discussion with the chap in front along the lines of, has the picture come back as you're wriggling the connection? This is the mains distribution panel. We have a voltmeter to measure the input voltage and the input current, and main circuit breakers and sub-circuit fuses. This panel, as I said, the vehicle was more or less empty at the front, was laid on the floor. It's not in the correct original position, but it was prudent to put it here at the time. But on our reconstruction plans, we're going to restore it back to its original position, which is behind me. Now, the camera CCUs are in more or less the original position, except they're not the original CCUs. Originally, it had Pi Mark 6 CCUs, but these are Marconi Mark 8 CCUs. Out you come. And here are the secondary controls. And it pulls out even further for another row of controls. And there's quite a lot of electronics. So I installed 3 of these as camera 1, camera 2 and camera 3. But all this area is going to be completely gutted, and the original design and style of equipment installed as much as possible. And the mains panel, which I mentioned earlier, is going to go along here, and the bench will be just here.
He's out! 10 wickets to lead on.
And it's Lonsborough. 3-2. Lonsborough so tired, but she touches first. Lonsborough has the gold medal.